I feel like Shiz. You know the guy in the Book of Mormon that in the Book of Ether where he lost his head and then he struggled for breath. He got up on his hands and then collapsed. Oh, did you think I was... come on, you know I wouldn't do that. Oh, my goodness, folks. What a day. What a day. Okay, so the thought came to me about the quote that we always hear, that the Constitution will hang by a thread and that the Mormon elders will charge in and save the day, right? Well, if you just do a Google search, don't do the church search on the church website. It's not very good. But if you do a Google or a different search engine that's not communistic, if you do that or Google and just put the Constitution hang by a thread, LDS, you'll get it. And one of the first ones will come up is on the church website. It's really interesting. The one that's very well documented and that can be attributed to Joseph Smith is this. The first known record of the prophecy dates July 19th, 1840 in Nauvoo, when the prophet spoke about the redemption of Zion, using the Doctrine and Covenants, section 101. And I think that's key. We have to study that section to kind of understand what the saints were going through at the time and then apply it to what's going on today. Not so much for the members of the church, but just the Constitution being threatened, right? Okay, so here we go. This is what Joseph Smith said, using the text of section 101. Even this nation will be on the verge of crumbling to pieces and tumbling to the ground. And when the Constitution is on the brink of ruin, this people will be the staff upon which the nation shall lean, and they shall bear the Constitution away from the very verge of destruction. And that's in the Joseph Smith Papers, LDS Church Historical Archives. Now, for me personally, I think that had more to do with what was going to happen with the Civil War and all those kind of things, and what the saints were going through at the time when they had things taken from them, property, possessions, and there was no recourse. The government wasn't helping them at all. And that's what the Constitution was for, was to protect the people, right? So there's other references of individuals who stated what the prophet said, and you can read those. That's where it came from. Now, look, I don't condone what happened at the Capitol. The group that went in. I understand a lady was shot and killed. We never want that. However, to call where these, many of them, in my opinion, are criminals, sit and call it a sacred area. And there was even one reference that they called it the temple, that the temple had been violated. Wow. Oh, man. I'm telling you, they've gone too far for me. Now, again, I don't condone storming it, but I do condone pointing out the corruption that is happening. And it, I think I've got to register as an independent, because Republicans, Democrats, it's all the same. It's all the same for me. But it's like I said in my previous video, we put our trust in God and in his son, Jesus Christ, who condescended to come down here and do the things he did, and was beaten, spit upon, crown of thorns, nailed to a cross. while the government sat by, okay? Yeah, we don't depend on a government. We depend on God. Now we're going to be law-abiding. That's in our belief system, to obey the laws of the land, and we're going to be true and faithful to that. But we are also going to acknowledge wickedness, and we are going to acknowledge when good is called evil and evil is called good. We're going to acknowledge that, and we have every right to do that, and an obligation to do that. Obligation to do that. Section 101 is very sobering. We need to read it. We need to read it because it talks about the saints deserving what they got coming to them in a lot of ways. Okay? We can learn a lot from that. So, short video tonight. I just wanted to vent a little bit, you know. I mean, I know many of you are frustrated. I'm frustrated. Now listen, I don't understand the attack on President Trump. You know, I just don't think it's right that because he sincerely feels, as do the majority of people that voted for President Trump, 74 million, I think it is, plus, voted for him. The majority of that huge number believes that there was fraud in the election and that Trump should be the president. So that's amazing. That's amazing. He has every right to pursue that and to talk about it and to say, hey, we want justice done here. So that should never have equated to a group storming into the Capitol and where Congress was meeting. But I don't see where Trump incited that. And the people, both Republicans and Democrats, are attacking Trump as if everything is his fault, just by him pointing it out. So we can't point out things anymore. Isn't that interesting? We just need to just let it go. Just let it go. Frustrating. Well, look, this is the real deal, folks. This is what we're talking about, what we've been talking about, that we've got some intense times ahead. We need to be prepared in all ways. But most off, we need to be connected to God and let God prevail. I did want to read one scripture in section 101, but it's a brief one because there's so many good things in there. And I really recommend reading that as well as Luke 18. Luke 18, okay? So here we go. I wanted to read this. I read this the other day for some reason, and I wrote it down as one of the blessings of Israel. One of the blessings of Israel. Remember, we were asked to find out what are the blessings of Israel. And this, in my opinion, is one. So I'm going to start at verse 8 of section 101. In the day of their peace, they esteemed lightly my counsel. This is the members of the church. But in the day of their trouble, of necessity, they feel after me. Ooh, that's a stinging phrase to me. They feel after me. Meaning, oh, you know, now that I'm in trouble, I want your help. I feel you now. Verily I say unto you, notwithstanding their sins, my bowels are filled with compassion towards them, and I will not utterly cast them off. And in the day of wrath, I will remember mercy. This is one of the blessings of Israel, folks. I have sworn, and the decree hath gone forth by a former commandment, which I have given unto you, that I would let fall the sword of mine indignation, in behalf of my people, And even as I have said, it shall come to pass. Now remember when in section 1 we're talking about his sword bathed in heaven? Here we go. I would let fall the sword of mine indignation in behalf of my people, and even as I have said, it shall come to pass. So this is the blessing of Israel. Mine indignation is soon to